Can you see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we are starting with the theories of entrepreneurship. It has gone entrepreneurship has gone changes, keeping with the continued changes in different fields. Over a period of time, this concept as a has evolved. Earlier, there were some different viewpoints which were attached. Earlier, it was just casually we used to use the word as entrepreneurship. One who begins his ventures, he would be either called as a businessman or just a shopkeeper, or sometimes a better word would be an entrepreneur. So it has really gone some changes over a period of time, and now it has emerged as what we see, a critical input for the socio-economic development. So it is not nowadays, or like I was saying, that it has evolved over a period of time. Earlier it was just looked at from buying and selling activities which it involves. But now we are attaching, or now we believe that this entrepreneurship is really a very important input for socio-economic development. So it is actually helping in bringing the nation on a at a better position. It actually makes the economy grow, because it has got some kind of contribution. The entrepreneurship has got some contribution in the overall development of the economy. So earlier the philosophy was just the funda, where we are uh, we are manufacturing something, we are selling, and then the cycle was going on. But over a period of time, we are now looking at this from socio-economic point of change. It has really helped in bringing about some kind of change in the society. In keeping with the changes, various thinkers have developed different theories of entrepreneurship. So, these theories of entrepreneurship basically give us a viewpoint of looking at the entrepreneurship. Now, according to some scholars, they believe that because of entrepreneurial ventures, dash dash things are happening in the economy. According to some thinkers, they believe that it is the inner urge. Because of that, a person becomes an entrepreneur. So various scholars, various thinkers are developing and have developed various theories of entrepreneurship. Now when I say theory, it means that my mindset or theory replicates the person's thinking pattern. In our schools also we learned lot of theorems. So what was the philosophy behind those theorems is that a person has this viewpoint towards looking at a particular thing, and then he proves how my thinking is correct. And that is what exactly these theories tell us. So for example, scholar X or the thinker X believes that because of these things entrepreneurship grow, and he proves it. So that proof is what we learn in theories. So we learn today some 5 to 6 different theories. Very important among these theories is given by Joseph Schumpeter. He is the management thinker, very famous management thinker, and really contributed in the field of economics and this entrepreneurship and marketing as well. So what this Joseph Schumpeter's theory of innovation says, according to him, entrepreneurship is creative activity. It is all related to the mind of the person. It's a creative activity that disrupts. Disrupts मतलब breaks. थोड़ा कुछ changes करते हैं. So that disrupts the routine or the circular flow of economy. So this creative activity of the person, somewhere it breaks the routine. This creative activity or creativity of the person breaks the circular flow of economy. Now, what is the circular flow of economy, roughly speaking? See, there is raw material, so that raw material gets converted into semi-finished goods. Semi-finished goods gets converted into finished goods. Now this finished goods, I'm explaining roughly the flow of circular flow of economy, how it happens. So these finished goods are stored at the warehouse, and as and when the suppliers are ready, as a person from supply chain or from distribution, I distribute it uh, to the related parties or to the related suppliers or distributors. Now from these distributors the goods reach to retailers, from retailers they reach to wholesalers, from wholesalers they reach to retailers, from retailers to the direct consumers. So this is how the goods are reached. Similarly, now this is one part of cycle which is catering to business to customers, a B2C circle. Sometimes it happens that the finished product of mine becomes the raw material for someone else. So he brings that finished product of mine for his process to begin, and this way again it passes through the next phase. So this is the roughly flow of economy. So this theory tells us that somewhere this routine or circular flow gets broken by the creativity of the person, and that is what is the result of the innovation or innovative abilities of the person. Now, in order to make this happen, in order to break this chain, in order to break this routine, how it can be possible, how it can be carried out. Theory is telling us, if I have to put it in simple words, Schumpeter's theory of innovation tells us innovation can be brought in by these 5 cases जो हमने slides पे लिखे हुए. So innovation covers these 5 cases. Let us understand these 5 cases and then we'll try to relate it with the theory of innovation. Introduction of new good. New good matlab new goods. So by way of introducing new set of goods to the market, I am bringing about the innovation. Earlier, I was only drinking, for example, suppose I am talking about 70s Kaira, 70s, late 70s. So whenever I used to travel, I used to carry water from my home. I used to carry it in bottles. Now those bottles were also of not plastic. There were these were the metal bottles, or I used to make something else to carry the water from my home. But over a period of time, what has happened? The Bisleri, the generic word I am using, Bisleri or mineral water came into existence. It was very easy to carry it in plastic bottles. And now next step is we have the small pouches also, the pouches in terms of glass, disposable glasses. So one time use ho jata hai, I just drink it and I can simply throw it off. I don't even have to carry it along with me. So this is kind of introduction of new set of goods, and this is again, though on a smaller scale, but can be termed as an innovation. Just to make the concept clear. Second innovation, second type of case would be introduction of new method of production. When we can say these LPG cylinders and accordingly the cookwares were introduced, or this was introduced in the market. This product came in the market. It simply just these traditional chulha which were very popular in Indian households. They simply uh, prove that they are out of we can say out of use, or they are not at all convenient to use. So slowly and steadily it captured our household. Many things were happening simultaneously, but then newer method of production, cooking in a hassle free manner. Now if we go to rural areas, still those chulhas are quite popular, but then we are just understanding this is how the innovation can be carried out by introducing new method of production, opening of a new market from offline markets to online market. So this online is a new set of uh, place, we can say, where you can simply offer anything which you can. So right from clothing and apparel to electronics to household, kids wear, you just name. You can sell your furniture also online. Maybe you can buy dresses on rent also online. So there are innovative ideas, and people are making use of this digital market and the online platform to the fullest. So new products, new method of production, new market to cater to. Fourth way of carrying out innovation is conquest of a new source of supply of raw material. Conquesting का मतलब होता है to establish your hold over. So you try to, maybe we read in newspapers that so and so industry, while carrying out survey, they found out the source of supply of raw material for them. They were digging out something, and they all of a sudden they found the particular mineral which is used in the production. So this is what is called as conquesting. So the land belonged to them. They were क्या बोलते हैं, they were just digging out it for something else, and accidentally they found the raw material which they require for their production. So another way is conquesting a new source of supply of raw material. Fifth way of innovation is carrying out carrying out of new organization. Maybe you set up a different unit, you come up with different form of organization. Now different form of organization, now we see that the organization structure is flat in nature. We also see that organization structure is in matrix form as well. Now matrix form, it happens that there would be two reporting authorities. Hmm? So if I am working on two different projects, I have two different people to report to. So this form of structure is called as matrix form of organization. Now we also see that the organizations are becoming flat. Flat in the sense that there are less intermediaries involved in terms of reporting, in terms of decision making. So I as a person may be directly reporting to the um chief manager, or let's say assistant manager, who in turn would be reporting to chief manager. Chief manager would be reporting to AGM and GM, like that. So we are reducing these number of people, number of intermediaries. Now why this is happening? Because when you have lot many people in between, the decision making happens not at a faster rate. It takes lot of time, because then I have to take approval from 3 to 4 different people. So as per their convenience and the schedule, I have to carry out my activities. So innovation can be carried out in by establishing new set of organization as well. So if the product is quite let's say happening one, very much in demand, and requires less interference from the top, or requires faster decision making in case of launching it in the market, or maybe the changes which are happening. So such products may call for lesser intermediaries involved. So to fulfill the requirement of the product, I may form a new organization where there would be less people to look after or take care of that particular product. Are these 5 points clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now what as I said, now we'll try to club what the theory says for the innovation. So the theory says that this is how, by these 5 ways, by implementing these 5 ways, we can have innovation in the in the economy, or we can start with the innovation. The person can bring about bring on his creativity by either following these 5 ways. Now, what theory further has to say, entrepreneurs are motivated and these are talented class of people, and they are the key figure in the development. So they themselves are quite motivated. Theory of innovation also tells more about what set of these entrepreneurs are. First is they are introducing innovation, and because of that innovation, they are helping the process of development. And they are introducing these innovations. The entrepreneurs are developing innovations in these 5 ways. Who these entrepreneurs are, the theory is telling us that these are motivated and talented class of people. They themselves are motivated. There is no one else from outside who is forcing them to implement. They know what they have to do, so they are motivated enough, and they are talented as well, they are qualified as well. They foresee the potentially profitable opportunity and they try to exploit it. Their way of these entrepreneurs way of looking at opportunities is different. Maybe for a common man, pandemic would be a situation where he may where that person may crib for, things which are not happening according to him. But for a creative person, or the person who has this ability of looking at things differently, he may think that this is the opportunity. I have got free time with me, which I can utilize for thinking of what all ventures I can start when the situation would be normal. So he may prepare himself to face again, to face the normal conditions. And in this way he can make use of the time or the energy which he is saving on not every day going to office, not traveling, on some different in some different areas. So they look at the opportunities from different angle, from different perspective, and they try to exploit it. If that time which is there, they may think of starting something, they may think of taking training while working, they may think of doing all those things which they wanted to do and which he wanted to do, and he otherwise could not do because of some reasons. So they try to exploit the opportunity which is available. This concept of innovation included the elements of risk taking. Now when we are talking about innovation, meaning they have gone one step ahead of this risk taking ability, and they have uh, you know uh, they have worked on that risk taking or risk factor which was involved, and they have come forward and started something of their own. However, these attributes accompanied by the ability to innovate would not be sufficient to account for entrepreneurship. But then only having innovation, only having ability to take risk is not sufficient for starting your entrepreneurial venture. So this could be the, we can say that, the drawback of the theory, that this theory is only focusing, only concentrating on this innovative abilities, or the uh, we can say the characteristic of the person to innovate. But then there are other important elements which equally contribute towards successful entrepreneurship. So this theory is not talking about those other factors, other important factors as well. So this is this Joseph Schumpeter's theory of innovation. Theory is talking about innovation and ways of carrying out that innovation, but the theory is not talking about the other important factors responsible for entrepreneurship. Then we have second set of theory given by McClelland, known as theory of achievement. Now, he stressed that people with high achievement orientation were more likely to become entrepreneurs. Now, McClelland is trying to define who is an entrepreneur. So, according to him, he believes that people with high achievement orientation, I want to succeed. I want to, reach from here to there. So he has this target in front of him, and he tries to achieve that target. So this orientation makes the person become an entrepreneur. So again, this is a form of innovation, or this is a form of state of the mind, that because of this factor, because of uh, need to achieve this set target, I want to become an entrepreneur. So this is the inner factor, we can say, that lies in the person. Such people are not influenced by money or external incentives. I want to achieve something, but then I'm not influenced by the money or the external incentives. Maybe that achievement, uh, when I compare that achievement and what I'm doing right now. So, output of both, hmm, when I achieve something, the reward which I get, and the things which are right now I'm doing, and the reward I get out of doing those things, there is financial, or let's say monetary difference. The things which I am doing currently gives me X amount every month, for example. Whereas when I become an entrepreneur, start my venture to achieve what I have decided or desired, gives me Y amount after 5 months every month. Understanding? And that X and Y is having a lot of difference. That X is quite high compared to Y. But then, according to McClelland, he believes that these entrepreneurs, who start their venture out of the need to achieve, or out of this high achievement orientation, they are not influenced by the output. They are not influenced by the money, the external incentives, which we discussed just now. If they are earning less, if they are achieving less, maybe we'll say that in the beginning, if they are achieving less, but still they go ahead because these people are achievement oriented. They are not innovative, but then these set of customers, these set of entrepreneurs, according to McClelland, are achievement oriented, and they are not influenced by the money or the external incentives. They simply go ahead because they have this motive of achieving something. They consider profit to be a measure of success and competency. For them, profit is measure of success and competency, whether I'm doing it correctly, whether I'm competing, and what I am achieving. So they look at profit from this angle. So he identified two characteristics of entrepreneurship. According to McClelland, the two characteristics are doing things in a new and better way, and decision making under uncertainty. So, as per McClelland, when a person is having these two abilities in himself, that he is doing things in a new and better way, obviously to achieve, that achievement orientation is always there. For that, when the person is doing things in new and better way, and when he makes the decision under uncertainty to achieve something, then according to McClelland, the person is known as an entrepreneur. So these above characteristics govern the economic behavior of a person to become entrepreneur. So this theory of achievement. McClelland's theory of achievement is governing the economic behavior of a person. This theory is putting stress on how the behavior of a person or how the behavior of an entrepreneur economically, how he is generating, what he is deriving out of his activities, the way what he is carrying out. McClellan stated that I'll just read few points which are there. McClellan stated that strong need achievement. Now this need achievement feeling which I have in my mind, he termed this feeling as N-arch, A-R-C-H, N-arch, is found within certain individuals, groups, and communities. The theory talked about, if we see, theory talked about this achievement motivation. So McClelland is defining who such persons are, and he is uh, putting the terminology as N-arch for that feeling of this achievement orientation which is there. N-arch. Now this N-arch is found within certain individuals, groups, and communities. The need for achievement or achievement orientation is the most relevant factor for explaining economic behavior. People having high need for achievement are more likely to achieve as entrepreneur. So as this feeling of achievement or this N arch is high, directly proportional to the person becoming an entrepreneur. If that achievement orientation is high in a person, he will definitely be an entrepreneur one day, because the this feeling is directly proportional to being an entrepreneur. So if this is high, the person will become an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. So such people with this N arch feeling in them, they strive hard for success. By some or the other way, they want to achieve this. They want to achieve what they have targeted. So they really strive hard to get successful. People with high achievement, they are not influenced by monetary rewards as compared to people with low achievement. For them, for this N-arched people, for them monetary rewards, they don't influence much. For them, the success or whatever they have targeted to achieve, so that achievement is more important than the monetary rewards. For them, monetary rewards are secondary. Achieving success is primary. So this is second theory, theory of achievement by McClelland. Then we have Lebenstein's X-efficiency theory. What this theory tells us. Levenstein identified two functions of entrepreneurs, that is input completion and gap filling. Now what this theory is, this is this X efficiency theory, meaning it is X efficiency. How Levenstein has defined X efficiency, it is the degree of inefficiency on the use of resources within the firm. Understand, X efficiency is inefficiency on the use of resources within the firm. It measures the extent to which the firm fails to realize its productive potential. Firm has got firm or a manufacturing unit has got some potential. Now that potential is to manufacture something. All right. Now when the firm is manufacturing something, we are understanding how well it is manufacturing, how well it is utilizing its resources. We observe that some firms are not doing great because they have not upgraded. They are still using the older processes. They are still using the older machinery. So meaning they are not utilizing the resources. So this calls for inefficiency. They are inefficiently using the resources. If the machine is 10-year or 15-year old, and now if I have to call it for scrap, and still Just because the machine is working, I'm using it for the production. Now, I'm not taking into consideration the defect which that machine is causing, the maintenance which I am putting in for that particular machine. I am ignoring and I'm still continuing with the same set of machine. So this is actually the kind of degree of inefficiency. So this X efficiency theory measures the extent to which the firm fails to realize its productive potential. So I am ignoring, maybe that ignorance could be because I'm lacking the capital which is required to invest. Sometimes it happens that due to some personal factors, I am now not concentrating on my factory. So there could be a number of such reasons. X efficiency arises either because the firm's resources are used in wrong way or they are not used at all. So this point is talking about the possible factors when this X efficiency can arise. So as we saw, where how the firm's resources are used in wrong way, how the firm's resources are used in an inefficient way. So this theory is talking about such X efficiency or such factors. The function of an entrepreneur is to marshal all available inputs to increase the efficiency of the existing methods of production or facilitate the introduction of new ones. So here, as an entrepreneur, his job is to marshal all the available inputs to increase the efficiency. He has to capture the entrepreneur in such X efficient factor, in such scenario. He has to marshal all the available inputs to increase the efficiency. So he has to first understand where or what is really causing the X efficiency, where what are those factors which are causing this X efficiency, meaning inefficiency. Now, after understanding those factors, I have to take control of all those factors. If I found that capital is not available, because of that I am unable to buy new machinery. So now, problem I have understood, that capital unavailability. So now I have to manage from where I can make the capital available for the buying of new machines. Somewhere I observed that the maintenance department is inefficient and they are not taking proper care of the machines which we have. That is why the machines are, because of their wear and tear, uh, causing lot of loss to me. So I need to rectify the people in the maintenance department. It may happen that I brought the machinery 5 years back, but then the supplier is not providing me enough after sales service. Because of that, and moreover he also supplied me some faulty machine, something like that. So I have to understand these X inefficiency factors, and accordingly I need to work on them. I need to marshal all the available things to increase the efficiency of the existing material, existing method of production. The role of entrepreneur here also involves assembling of information and analysis of results derived from the combination of factors. So this X efficiency theory of Liebenstein's talks about finding out what causes X efficiency. Role of an entrepreneur in X efficiency theory is that he needs to assemble all the information, all such X efficiency factors. He needs to assemble, he needs to uh, take them together, and he needs to analyze them, and he needs to also understand, assemble, analyze, and come out with results which are derived from these factors. Okay, why this is causing, if we rectify, how it will be beneficial. So he needs to calculate all these things. So this is our third theory. X efficiency theory. Three theories we have till now studied. First was given by Joseph Schumpeter. It talked about innovation, but it did not talk about other factors which are equally important for a person to become an entrepreneur. McClelland's theory talked about identifying the characteristics. It talked about this N arch feeling or the factor which is there, and that is actually the degree of achievement, or it is actually the way to express your achievement orientation. So more the achievement orientation feeling in a person, chances are more that he becomes a successful entrepreneur. And such people are not at all influenced by the monetary or the external incentives. For them to become an entrepreneur and successfully run their enterprise, it is the N arch or this achievement orientation which is more important. X efficiency theory of Liebenstein talked about understanding the degree of inefficiency on the use of resources within the firm. So, after understanding the factors which are causing the inefficiency, job of the entrepreneur is to analyze them properly, is to take everything or the available inputs into his control and try to increase the efficiency by maybe we can say making the existing processes better by trying to uh, resolve the issues related to the production processes, and this way they can he can help the organization. um, these theories are clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving on to the next set of theory is given by Knight. This theory is talking about uh, the group of people. Basically, according to Knight, an entrepreneurs are group of specialized persons who bear the risk and deal with uncertainty. So now this theory is talking about bearing risk and dealing with uncertainty. They are specialized group of persons who bear the risk and deal with uncertainty. They receive pure profit, which is the reward for bearing the cost of uncertainty. So they are receiving the profit, they are achieving what they are achieving profit. Because of that profit only they are into the business, and that profit is actually the reward for them for bearing the cost of uncertainty. So it is actually the, we can say, the reward or the gift for them, prize for them, because they understood and they held the uncertainty which is involved in the business, the risk which is involved in carrying out the activities, and for doing those things what they are receiving is actually the profit. Situation where probability of alternatives cannot be determined either by prior reasoning or by statistical inference is identified as uncertainty. Now, this theory is defining what this uncertainty is. Uncertainty, the things are unclear. I am unable to guess what may happen. So, this is roughly uncertainty. From this theory point of view, it calls or it talks about such a situation where alternatives cannot be determined. A situation may arise from business point of view that I am unable to list down the alternatives. I am unable to come up with plan B or plan C for the situation. Now, why I am unable to come up with plan B or plan C? It could be either because of prior reasoning or by statistical inference. Either mathematically also, if I try to calculate something, I am unable to do. जैसे कि दिस पैंडेमिक में वन सॉल्यूशन वाज दैट कि वंस दैट हर्ड कम्युनिटी विल बी बिल्ट, automatically the probability and spread will be or its effect would be lessened. So I have this statistical inference with me that because of this, it may lead to such situation. So the same thing, herd community and all, we did not hear in the month of April. Last year ka scenario if we take, April mein things were unclear. There was no alternative situation where alternative cannot be determined because there was no prior reasoning, there was no prior proof available to us that when such things come, how to react. We were simply unclear, the world was simply unclear about such scenarios. We never knew how to behave and how to react in such situations. So reasoning was also not there, and this statistical inference was also not there. So situation was simply uncertain. So we have actually undergone this uncertainty. We know this feeling of uncertainty. So entrepreneurs are understanding, or they understand such uncertainty. Abhi we have understood uncertainty. Now coming back to our entrepreneurship and entrepreneurial venture. So from business point of view, these entrepreneurs, they understand such uncertainty coming up in the business or in the economies, socio economic cultures like that, and they try to bear the risk and deal with such uncertainty. So those are the people who in who react and act in this uncertain period of time. They deal with the uncertainty, are known as entrepreneurs. So innovation theory talked about being innovative or creative as the quality of an entrepreneur. Second theory talked about an arch. Third theory talked about the understanding the inefficiency which is present in the firm and acting and or tackling that uncertainty, not uncertainty, the x efficiency. And then fourth theory talked about how to deal with uncertainty, how to bear the one who bears the risk and deals with uncertainty is known as an entrepreneur. So four theories so far we have seen. We are left with one, only one theory given by Hagen, that we'll cover in our next session. So it was actually due to some network issue, I could not start with the lecture. So in the beginning, um, we could not just start it on time. So any doubt if you have, just let me know in the next class, or you can call me as well. So I hope the things are clear. So see you in next class and
Okay,
have a
ma'am.
good day. Yeah, bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you so
Bye bye.
much. Bye bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.